Well, homies, what can I say other than I am shooketh to the core? When I say that I got run down and beaten today, it would be an understatement. It has been a while since I've had to fight that hard to get that good of a pump. Because, good Lord, hard to breathe, man. I fought for today. It's one of those days where, like, you have to really actively and purposefully plan out the reasons behind each lift you choose to do. Like I've told you guys, right now, I'm more or less feeling out new variations and complexes to have more fun, keep it new, but also make it to where it's so hard I can't actually put heavy weight up so that I don't get injured again like last time. And that's been great. Conditioning's never been better. My technique and core is on point. But, you know, if you were here yesterday, after that heavy of a clean and jerk workout with front squats and clean pull variations, yeah, it's a little hard to hold it together, you know? Which is bound to happen with any sort of lifting you do when you push it that hard. The next day, you're always going to have to fight twice as hard to get half the weight up. But that's the whole point, you know? That's where the proper conditioning and growth really comes through, you know? It's not just hitting those PRs and those new weights when you feel the absolute best. It is pushing through and overcoming those lighter weights on days where you feel like you can't do anything at all, where you feel like the world's against you, your body's not working with you. You got to really turn on the mindset and not only just tell yourself, but you have to legitimately convince yourself that you are stronger than what you believe you are. Not in an ego sense, but if you feel like there's a chance you can put the weight on the barbell after you've been training for like a year, you know, or like just enough time to have a consistent program where you're doing every lift with an idea, with a purpose behind it, and not just willy-nilly going heavy to go heavy. When you get that sort of consistency and discipline for this kind of a passion, you'll know if it's like out of your league. But for me, if I can imagine that I might be able to do it, typically I can. It's just whether or not I'm willing to put in the mindset behind it to actually reinforce the fact that I know I can do it. It's just overcoming what my body's limitations want me to believe I can't push through, you know? And of course, if there's any actual pins and needles stabbing myself in the side kind of pain, then yeah, we're going to chill out. But it was just strict pins and needles shaking my ass off. I actually started today's workout. It would have been more of like this is what I used to do, power snatch on before my back squat variation on the old program. So normally I've been doing power snatch type complexes, but today I was just so burnt out after yesterday's workout. Every muscle lining up my spine is just shredded to pieces right now. So it's really hard to hold anything with a consistent spine alignment that coincides with my low back's capabilities right now. So essentially, I was like, what's something that I've never really done before that would push me but not make it so difficult that I have to worry about my core's liability, you know? And I didn't realize I've never done a muscle snatch before, you know? It seems so obvious that I should have, like in the 3+ years I've been doing this sport, would have figured I would have tried it at some point by now. But you got to remember, I've never been coached before, you know? It's always been me and myself and I getting through it, because the only coaching I ever got, you know, I love my coach from high school, but he didn't really know how to Olympic lift in the most efficient way. He just, you know, it was one of those types of training halls where they have an idea of what they've learned from other people, but they've never actually done it themselves. So it's really, really difficult to coach people, especially kids, because kids just want to fuck around and throw heavy shit that they know they can't do, which was the epitome of me back then. So with no coaching or anything, I never really tried complexes or variations that were strictly just a movement that forces you to lock in on one really specific drive, you know? And I gotta say, I've never, it felt great from the get-go. It really was not pushing against me much. It's just, I've never done it before, so it felt super weird, you know? It wasn't physically bad. It didn't feel out of the way, or the technique didn't feel off per se. It just felt so different that I felt like I was doing it wrong for part of the warm-up weights that I was doing. That's why I was doing a couple more reps than I'm used to. And what was it? I think at 175, I had my first fail, and I was like, oh man, this is way harder than I thought. Because I had the idea that if I whipped it as hard as I could and then just remained locked out and tried to drive through it like I normally would, it would just get there at its own pace, because it's not that hard for me to pick up 175 pounds at this point. What I did not realize is that by not utilizing that maximum momentum as hard as I physically could whip it above my head in the most vertical line possible, I basically screwed myself. I could not. It is such an awkward hold where you're trying to drive a bar above your head from basically at your clavicle, like just below where you would hold it on your delts for a front squat position, and then driving with a wide grip. Like the amount of strength in my wrist tendons alone that I needed to hold it straight, let alone hold it still, to even have an attempt at driving through, that really got me. But I will say, as I always tell you guys, giving it a bit of a grunt, a little bit of a motion, that little yell that you can, just enough to get your core really pushing through it as hard as you physically can. Because I knew there was more in there. I wasn't pushing it to the absolute limit. And you got to treat every single weight like it's your last. Not in the sense that you think that you're not going to be able to do this ever again, and you're putting your body on the line, but that similar feeling when you're setting up for a weight that you're unsure of, where you really have to lock it in. That's how it needs to be on every single rep, because the better your rep looks and feels similar to your PR weights, the easier the PR weight will be itself, because you have that confidence and that mind-muscle connection and that swiftness behind the bar before you even have to worry about getting that locked in. That should be done from the get-go. But, got back on it. I was like, all right, I know I got a little bit more, so let's try it out. Got it really, really well, honestly. There was no pause in the drive when I really just turned my brain off and just pushed as hard as I could through it. So that was really good to feel. So I at least wanted to attempt 185, because that was the weight that I had the idea that I might get close to today. Didn't have any expectations for it, but I was like, there's a chance. It might be there, but I got to just, see what happens. And oh boy, that first one was scary. I got stuck and just held it right there, kind of like when you're on a bench press and you get that halfway stick, especially on like a closer grip like I do, and you're just stuck right in the middle of that sticking point on the way back up, and you can't move it at all, but you're already locked into place, so there's just nothing you can do other than just hold it there. That's what I got to. And again, very surprised by how easily I got pins and needles in my head. It felt like I was nearly blacking out for a second, not in a serious way. Like I dropped the weight before I even got near that point, but it was that kind of like struggle where I was like, shit, I'm getting lightheaded. It's a different kind of hold that I've never tried before, so my body was just really struggling more than I thought it would. Again, I knew it was there. It was just a matter of whether or not I wanted to try to give it that 100% that I had in that very moment. And of course I'm going to do that. Of course I'm going to try that out, because I have to. That's what the experience comes from. That's how you get better at this shit. You have to push through that last one that you aren't sure that you have, but know that at the bare minimum you have an attempt. That attempt, whether you win or fail by the end of it, trying your best to drive through it is what's going to make the next workout so much easier and make your body so much stronger. So we did get it, which is amazing. I was very happy, very proud. A homie walked up on the camera right when I was doing it, and I was like, oh yeah, now I get to actually show off. And that was just that was exciting for me. It's fun to be able to excel at something that I've never tried before in a sport that I love so much, because it really goes to show how much potential and drive I've gotten through it in the long run. Other than that, back squat was crazy today. I really wanted to come up with a new way that was more simple for the sake of my body's fatigue from yesterday, but gave myself that old kind of volume drive that I haven't been doing so much as of late. I've been doing a lot of top singles, a lot of very core and stability type based movements where I just kind of cut all the volume out. And I really had to look at that and be like, today needs to be a day where I actually want to get that longevity kind of drive. That one where you hit the third rep and you're just like, I hate that I'm here, but I know I'm going to feel so much better when I get through it. Like it's when you start running a mile and you're not an experienced runner, and you take that first like minute that first minute where you're trying to run a little too fast but not realizing how fast you're gonna break down, and you're just like, I don't want to be here, you know. But you know that if you push through to the end of that mile, it's gonna mean the world for your progress and the world for your mental state in that moment, especially. So, you know, it immediately felt heavy. I expected that. That's why I started doing the lifts the way I did today. I decided that it'd be fun to do alternating reps where the first rep would be slow tempo on the way down with a fast bottom position, just exploding out of the hole of the squat to get that good. I wanted that good fast twitch muscle fiber kind of feel in my quads. But also, it's supposed to be a variation day, so I wanted to make it a little bit more difficult than I would have been comfortable with just the slow tempo. So the second alternating rep would be normal pace, just straight up a really hard stuck pause rep. And I'm not saying you touch ass to grass and then you get scared because it's really heavy and you don't want to hold it and you jump back up with the bounce. I'm saying you go down and you have to like mentally go down and say 1 and then go up. You know, if you like the amount of time that it takes for you to mentally count to 1 should be how long that pause squat is. Because I'm telling you, you'll feel like you're down there for a while, but you're really not. You got to force yourself to stick that position. Keep your hips as tight as you can so you don't do a little butt wink. Because you'll know once you've fully stopped your momentum, because you're not going to want to lift it. That's the hardest part about today's workout. It's the fact that I didn't want to do it so bad. I was struggling, man. But I got to 345, sorry. And I immediately could tell that on the last one, my core got a little weak. I could feel a little pins and needles, but nothing that I'm not used to, you know. And I could tell right away that the reason that weight felt so heavy was because I allowed it to. And I mentally gave up that energy halfway through the set because I got tired and I didn't want to do it, you know. I knew I had it, and that's why I relaxed and I stopped holding as tight as I could and driving as hard as I knew that I could in that moment. And it made it just as hard after that set, if not harder, to put on 365. Because that's where the difference is. It's allowing yourself that little bit of weight that you know you have. And I knew in that moment, I was like, I just screwed myself because I just made that last set way harder than it needed to be because I wanted to be comfortable and I didn't want to drive as hard as I normally do. And now I got to push 5 times as hard on this heavyweight that would have been so much easier if I had just stuck to what I'm used to driving through, you know? And I'll tell you what, when I just setting up under the barbell, it's not going to look like I was struggling as hard as I'm going to explain it, but that's why the technique and the core strength is so important because that's what Olympic lifting is. It's making the weights seem easy and normal, and you're hitting your typical standard when you're actually crumbling at the seams. But I digress. I got into the bar, and the moment my back touched the bar and I put that little bit of pressure on it to set up, pins and needles instantly. I hadn't even picked it up yet. But that's where you have to really lock it in. Before I even walk onto the platform, the moment I put the weight on the barbell, that is when I mentally lock in. That's where I'm telling myself there is no excuse now. I've put the weight on the barbell, which means I know I have a chance, which means I know that the only thing limiting myself is my own mental fortitude to do it and do it to the best of my ability in that very moment. And I know I'm making this seemingly lighter squat day seem out of this world, but I'm telling you, it's different when you have to push this hard. This is the day that I'm talking about where you don't want to be there, where you just want to go home. You know that you'll feel better if you just wait a day and come back the next day and go at a comfortably heavy rate. But we're not here to be comfortable, man. That's not how you make progress. You push through according to the schedule you've chosen for yourself and commit to every single day that you are supposed to be there, regardless of what you think that you have an excuse for, you know? And I did that first rep, core's numb, instantly started sinking. Second rep, my back and arms are numb. Third rep, my legs are numb. I've never felt pins and needles in the quads around my knee before. That was nuts. Not in a pain way. And because I've had, you guys know I've had my left quad tendon tear, and there was no pain. It felt good. But I was just smoked, man. I'm not gonna be able to sit down tomorrow. And on that last one, I did 6 total reps, 3 total alternating reps between the slow tempo and then the pause reps. And that very last one, the slow tempo already took me out. It wasn't even that slow because I just couldn't hold it together anymore. Because when you're doing a slow tempo and it moves that fast, that's how you know you're putting in the right kind of effort. Because it's not perfect technique-wise, but it's the fact that you have to push that hard and it's still moving that fast compared to what the first couple reps looked like. That's what it means to really get to that breaking point, you know? And, buddy, my full head went numb. I could feel nothing. It has been a long time since, like, right before my knee exploded, since I felt my entire body go numb like that. And the fact that I was able to consciously remain committed and actually feel good while driving through it, even though I have never been so scared shitless of 365. Yeah, we're making good progress, man. I'm gonna run home and brag about that. I'm gonna go get some Waffle House and treat myself tonight. You know, that's what it really means to push through those pins and needles and do whatever it takes, no matter what you think you deserve to be doing. You have to do what you've scheduled yourself to do, what you've already committed to at least attempt doing, you know? But physically, after all that, I'm definitely going to have to sit it at a solid 8.15. It was a great drive. It was a great experience, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I was physically out of this world. I was dying, dude. It was nuts how much I had to put that much effort behind it. On a better day, could have maybe put on 385. Who knows? But that ain't today. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I could, because I know that with how hard I pushed that, I put in maximum effort for sure. Let's just say that. Mentally, got to give it a solid. I'm just going to put it at a flat 9. It was a great day. I'm consistently doing really, really well. Been good. It's been nice taking some days off of work, not having to go to the hospital all night and then back to the gym all day. It's just been me, myself, and I taking some good me time, just really relaxing and enjoying the things that I don't typically get to enjoy as much. I told you guys a little bit earlier, a couple of weeks ago, that it felt like more recently, now that my priorities are switching and I have to work more and I have more responsibilities toward my own livelihood because I'm financially independent, it's hard to enjoy the things that I've always enjoyed growing up, typically, when you got all this stuff to worry about. But I've realized more recently that when you put in the effort to get the productivity out of the way as efficiently and swiftly as possible according to what you're capable of doing without being overwhelmed, similar to the weights in the gym, you'll feel like you'll know when you feel like you've actually earned that time to fuck around and do the things that you originally thought were wastes of time, that really just you didn't have enough time to put that passion into, you know? So I get my work done early in the week now, and I can actually sit here and enjoy myself because I'm not just sitting here and staring at the wall thinking I got all this work to do, because I already did it. I earned my time to have fun and chill out, you know? Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow. You know how it is. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I am desperately tired, and I'm going to crash out tonight. So, you know, I'll see you when I see you. I'll be back tomorrow I got a clean and jerk complex and then heavy bench press tomorrow. We're going to see if 315 for 6 is going to go. Not super sure. I've been very tired after yesterday's workout, and I don't want to push my shoulders so hard that it tears my pec off, because that would be really dumb. But I'm not going to manifest that. I'm just going to do my best, and whatever feels good, we're going to do it. And if it doesn't, we'll chill out. You know, that's all it is. Progress is relative to myself. So if I got to take some more time, I got all the time in the world, man. That's all it is. Let me know how the lives and lifts have been going. You know I love hearing about it. And I'll be back tomorrow. I love you guys. See you later. Bye.